Well, hello, students. Welcome to our last selection of Book 5. This is Mr. Troop. So, if you remember correctly, we have the battle is raging. Diomedes has had some great moments already. The gods are taking sides in the battle. You have Ares and Aphrodite helping out the Trojans. And you have um, Diomedes standing down as he sees Ares. Okay, sorry, not Ares. Yes, Ares. Making sure for some reason I thought he had a different name, like so many of these characters in our text. So we're gonna pick up. Aeneas has just killed 2 men, and so on the other side, here I am right here. We're gonna start right here. Okay, as these fell, warlike Menelaus took pity on them, and he strode out among the champions, helmed in bright bronze, shaking his spear, and the fury of Ares drove him onward, minded that he might go down under the hands of Aeneas. But Antilochus, the son of high-hearted Nestor, watched him as he strode among the champions in fear for the shepherd of the people. So Antilochus is afraid for Menelaus, lest he be hurt and all their labor slip away into nothing. So as Aeneas and Menelaus raised hand and sharp spears, standing face to each other to do battle, Antilochus took his stand close beside the shepherd of the people. Nor did Aeneas hold his ground, though yet a swift fighter, he saw 2 men staying with each other against him. So Menelaus is going in, but Antilochus, fearing for him, comes and stands by his side. These, when they had dragged back the bodies among the Achaean people, dropped the poor youths into the hands of their company, and themselves wheeled about once more to fight among the foremost. So, Antilochus may have saved Menelaus' life. We don't know, but he stands beside Menelaus because he's afraid that if he goes in, he's going to get killed. All right, here we are on the next page. There these killed Palamedes, the equal of Ares. So this is a great fighter if he's equal of Ares. Lord of the Paphlagonian men of armor, high-hearted. Menelaus, the spear-famed son of Atreus, right, stabbed him with a spear as he stood his ground and struck the collarbone, while Antilochus struck down Mydon. Oops, I forgot to circle that guy's name. His charioteer and henchman, Atomios' brave son, as he wheeled the single-foot horses about with a stone striking mid-elbow above, and from his hands the reins pale with ivory dropped into the dust groundling. So remember in the last one, in the last section that I read, there's almost always a wound, and then there is there's some kind of sentence or a few words that tell him that he died, right? So he dropped into the dust groundling as him dying, right? Antilochus, charging, drove the sword into his temple. You know what? I was wrong, and I will admit it right here. He's not dead yet, is he? Antilochus, charging, drove the sword into his temple, so that gasping he dropped from the carefully wrought chariot headlong, driven deep into the dust his neck and shoulders. And there, since he chanced to light in a depth of sand, he stuck fast, while his horses trampled him into the dust with their feet. Can you imagine drawing this one? This would be gnarly. So he gets hit by a stone and knocks him. Then Antilochus drives the sword in his temple, and then he's stuck in the sand as the horses trample him. These are some gnarly descriptions they have going on in these chapters. These Antilochus lashed and drove back into the host of the Achaeans. So Antilochus takes his horses. Hector saw them across the ranks and drove on against them, crying aloud, and with him followed the Trojan battalions in their strength. And Ares led them with the goddess Ino. And she, carrying with her the turmoil of shameless hatred, while Ares made play with his hands with a spear gigantic, and ranged now in front of Hector, and now behind him. So Ino, if you look her up, is the sister of Ares. Okay, and she's the goddess of war. Okay, obviously not nearly as strong as Athena, but she is kind of like Ares, just the girl version of Ares. And she's closely linked sometimes to Ares, who started the whole golden apple thing. So she has a tendency to do mischievous things, or things that cause issues. So she is there, Ares is there, right? And he's dancing around Hector in and out. Diomedes of the great war cry shivered as he saw him, and like a man in his helplessness who, crossing a great plain, stands at the edge of a fast-running river that dashes seaward and watches it thundering into the white water and leaps a pace backwards, so Tydeus' son gave back and spoke to the people. So obviously Diomedes is speaking here. Friends, although we know the wonder of glorious Hector to be a fighter with a spear and a bold man of battle, yet there goes ever some god beside him, who beats off destruction, and now in the likeness of a man mortal Ares goes with him. Come now, keeping your faces turned to the Trojans, give ground backwards, nor we be eager to fight in strength with divinities. So I actually think at the beginning of this, I remembered this being a little further back. I think I said that Diomedes has retreated from the battle because he notices that there's a god fighting. And remember, he's only supposed to fight against Aphrodite. So that's actually here. So my bad on that as well. He's saying we need to back off. There's a god fighting next to Hector. He spoke, and now the Trojans had come very close upon them. There Hector cut down 2 men, well skilled in warcraft, and Callios and Menestheus, both in a single chariot. And as these fell, great Telamonian Aias pitied them and stood close in and made cast with the shining javelin. So Aias, is going to try and protect them. Aias the great, and struck down Amphios, Selagus' son, who, rich in possessions and rich in cornland, had lived in Paesus, but his own destiny brought him to be a companion in arms to Priam and the children of Priam. I should have circled that. Now Telamonian Aias struck him beneath the war belts, and the far-shouting spear was fixed in the lower belly, and he fell thunderously, shining Aias rode forward to strip his armor. So we've talked about this. When you kill somebody, you take their armor and you take their horses. That's what you want. But the Trojans showered spears upon him, sharp spears and glittering, and the great shield caught many. So Aias has a square shield according to legend instead of the round, and it has 7 layers. So it is a shield that offers immense protection. Okay, and so Aias was a huge man with a huge shield. He would have towered over many other people. Just here, you can imagine him just like that, right? Since setting his heel on his chest of the corpse, he pulled out the brazen spear, yet could no longer strip the rest of the glorious armor from his shoulders. He couldn't get the armor since he was battered with spears thrown, and he dreaded the strong circle made by haughty Trojans. So they're coming around to the side, right? Who many and valiant stood over him, gripping the great spears. Though he was a mighty man and strong and a proud one, they thrust away from them so that he gave ground, backward staggering. So Aias retreats because of all the Trojans surrounding him. So they went about the work at the strong encounter, but Heracles' son Tlepolemus the huge and mighty was driven by his strong destiny against godlike Sarpedon. Sarpedon is Zeus' son, and it's going to say it very soon. Okay. Now, these in their advance had come close together, the own son and the son's son of Zeus, the cloud gathering. It was Tlepolemus, the two who spoke first word. So now they're going to taunt each other a little bit, because what they do. Man of counsel of the Lycians, Sarpedon, why must you be skulking here? Running around, skulking around. You who are a man unskilled in fighting. Ouch. Burn. They are liars who call you issue of Zeus, that son of Zeus, and the holder of the Aegis, since you are far short in truth of the others who were begotten of Zeus in the generations before this. Okay, that's even more burn, right? So he's saying, dude, I don't think that you're the son of Zeus, because all the other sons of Zeus are way better than you. Such men, they say, was the great strength of Heracles. That's just this book's version of Hercules. right? My own father of the daring spirit, the heart of a lion, and he came here on a time for the sake of Laomedon's horses, with 6 vessels, only a few, and a few men needed to man them. So note a couple things here. First of all, Sarpedon is Zeus's son, but Tlepolemus, right, is the grandson of Zeus, right? Why? Because his father is Heracles or Hercules, right? Right? Look what it says here. Up here. It says, so the own son and the son's son of Zeus. So that's the son and the grandson of Zeus came together. And you can see, right? It was the great strength of Heracles, such men as Heracles, my own father. Okay? So this is Zeus's son and grandson fighting each other. And he came here on a time for the sake of Laomedon's horses with 6 vessels, and only a few men needed to man them. Sorry, I already read that. And widowed the streets of Ilion and sacked the city. But yours is the heart of a coward, and your people are dying. And I think that now, though you are come from Lycia, you will bring no help to the Trojans, even though you be a strong man, but beaten down by my hands will pass through the gates of Hades. So that's some pretty strong words coming from Tlepolemus. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. Okay. In turn, the lord of the Lycians, Sarpedon, answered him, in truth, Tlepolemus, he did destroy Ilion the sacred through the senselessness of one man, the haughty Laomedon. So this is talking about the old story where Laomedon angered the gods and they destroyed the city of Troy, who gave Heracles an evil word in return for good treatment and would not give up the horses, for whose sake he had come far off. So Laomedon also, one of the stories is Hercules came to get horses, and Laomedon promised him horses, but went back on his words. But I tell you, what you will win from me here will be death and black destruction, and broken under my spear you will give me glory, and I will give your soul to Hades of the famed horses. So spoke Sarpedon, while the other lifted his ass spear, Tlepolemus, and in a single moment the long shaft shot from their hands, Sarpedon striking him in the middle of the throat, and the agonizing spear drove clean through, and over his eyes mantled the covering mist of darkness. There's the death words. But Tlepolemus, in turn, had struck Sarpedon with a long spear on the left thigh, and the spear smashed on through in fury, scraping the bone. But his father, that'd be Zeus, fended destruction away from him. But his brilliant companions carried godlike Sarpedon out of the fighting, weighted down as he was by the long spear which dragged. Yet not one of them noticed or took thought in the urgency to pull out of his thigh the ash spear so he might stand. Such hard work they did have attending him. So they were trying to get him out of the battle, and nobody thought to pull the spear out as they run. On the other side, the strong grieved Achaeans carried Tlepolemus out of the fighting, but brilliant Odysseus, who had held a hardy spirit, saw what had happened, and his heart was stirred up. But now he pondered 2 ways within. He's trying to make a decision, in mind and in spirit, whether first go after the son of Zeus, that's Sarpedon, the loud thundering, or whether he should strip the life from more Lycians. Yet it was not the destiny of great-hearted Odysseus to kill with the sharp bronze the strong son of Zeus. So it was not his destiny to kill Sarpedon. Therefore, Athena steered his anger towards the host of Lycians. Okay, so Athena basically steered him towards the Lycians, and he killed all these people, Cheironus and Chromius and Alastor and Helios and Alexandros and Priantis and Neomon. And now my brilliant Odysseus have killed yet more of the Lycians, had not tall Hector of the shining helmet sharply perceived him, that saw him, or noticed him, and strode straight out from among the champions, helped with bright bronze, bringing terror to the Danaans. But Zeus' son Sarpedon was glad when he saw him come up, and piteously spoke to him. So he's hurt. He's piteously talking to him. Son of Priam, this is Sarpedon talking. Do not leave me dying for the Danaans to prey upon, but protect me, since otherwise in your city my life must come to an end. since I could return no longer back to my own house and the land of my fathers, bringing joy to my beloved wife and my son. My son is still a baby, still a baby. He spoke, but Hector of the shining helm did not answer, but swept on past him. So Hector just keeps going in his eagerness with all speed to push back the Argives, to strip the life out of many. Meanwhile, his brilliant companions laid godlike Sarpedon under a lovely spreading oak of Zeus of the Aegis, and strong Pelagon, one of his beloved companions, pushed perforce through and out of his thigh the shaft of that spear. Remember, we got the fishhook thing again. You push it out, okay, and so that you can get it out, okay, because the spears are hooked. The mist mantled over his eyes, so he died. The life left him, but he got his breath back again, and the blast of the north wind blowing brought back to life the spirit gasped out of agony. Now, the north wind, right here, typically refers to Zeus or the gods. So, this could mean that Zeus gave him back his life. Right? But the Argives, under the strength of Ares and the bronze armor of Hector, did not ever turn their backs or make for their black ships, nor stand up to them in fighting, but always backwards gave way, as they saw how Ares went among the Trojans. So the Argives, or the Achaeans, are driven back. So this is what Zeus wants, right? This is what he wants. He wants the Achaeans to be driven back. But wait, we can't end the book yet, so something else is going to happen. This could be where they call on Achilles, right? But no, that's not what's going to happen. Who then was the first and the last that they slaughtered? Hector, Priam's son, and Ares the brazen? Well, here's who they slaughtered. So this is who Hector and Ares slaughtered, right? Circle that. Teuthras first, the next Orestes, the driver of horses. We already met him. Trachos, the spearman of Attila and Animaenos. Okay. Helenus, the son of Inops, and Acerbios, the shining guard who had lived in Hyle, much concerned with the property in the place, hard on the Caphesian mare, and beside him the other men of Boeotia lived and held the fine fertile country. So that's everybody that they killed. Now as the goddess Hera, the white arms, perceived how the Argives were perishing in the strong encounter, right? They're getting pushed back. So Hera's not happy about this. Immediately she spoke to Pallas Athena in her winged words. For shame now, Atritone. Remember, this is Athena. Daughter of Zeus the Aegis. Nothing then meant the word we promised to Menelaus, to go home after sacking the strong-walled city of Ilion, if we were to let cursed Ares be so furious. So nothing that they've done so far is going to mean anything if we let Ares keep going. Come now, let us rather think of our own stark courage. So she spoke, nor did the goddess great Athena disobey her, but Hera, high goddess and daughter of Cronos the mighty, went away to harness the gold-bridled horses. The Hebian speed set about the chariot, the curved wheels, 8-spoked and brazen, with an axle of iron both ways. Golden is the wheels, felly imperishable. Felly, I need to look that up. Okay, I looked it up. Felly is the outside of the rim, so it looks like this wheel cannot be destroyed, right? Imperishable means it can't perish or die. So this wheel is undestroyable, and outside it is joined a wonder to look upon, the brazen running rim, and the silver naves revolve around either side of the chariot. Whereas the car itself is lashed fast with plating of gold and silver, and the double chariot rails that circle about it, and the pole of the chariot is of silver, whose extremity Hebe made fast golden and splendid yoke, and fastened the harness golden and splendid, and underneath the yoke Hera, furious for hate and battle, led swift running horses. So this is a beautiful description of the battle chariot of Hera. Also, Hebe is the sister of Hera. Okay, and she's the goddess of youth. All right. So now, in turn, Athena, the daughter of Zeus, beside the threshold of her father, slipped off her elaborate dress, which she herself had wrought with her hands' patience. Okay, and now, assuming the war tunic of Zeus, who gathers the clouds, she armed her gear for the dismal fighting. So Athena dresses for war or battle. And across her shoulders she threw the betasseled, terrible aegis, that's her shield, about which the hair hangs like a garland. So here I have an image of Athena's shield, and you can see she's got Gorgon on it, or some even say Medusa, right? So it has these snakes. The hair has snakes in it, and these snakes are supposed to petrify or turn the enemies into stone, depending on the story. So I'll just put that right there. And here you can see all about which Ter is one of the snakes, hangs like a garland, and hatred is there, and battle strength. Oops. And do that. And battle strength. And heart-freezing onslaught, and therein is set on the head of the gigantic Gorgon. So like I said, the Gorgon is there according to here, but some stories even say the head of Medusa. The thing of fear and terror, the portent, the symbol of Zeus of the Aegis. Upon her head she set the golden helm with its 4 sheets and 2 horns, and wrought with the fighting men of 100 cities. She set her feet on the blazing chair, and took a spear heavy, huge, thick, where she beats down the battalions of fighting men, against whom she of the mighty father is angered. Hera laid lashed swiftly on the horses, and moving of themselves groaned the gates of the sky that the hours guarded. And these hours to whose charge it is given the sky and Olympus. So like hours are the guards of Olympus, and the hours have to do with time, okay, and so time is symbolic of guarding Olympus. And the idea here is these hours are responsible for things like the constellations and the seasons and these types of things. So these things which are normally attributed to the gods, these hours guard, right, is symbolic of the power of the gods. Whose charge is given this huge sky and Olympus to open up the dense darkness or again to close it, right? So it makes sense. Hours, depending on time, you either see the dark sky, right, or you see the sun, Helios, and all that happens. So the hours guard Olympus. Through the way between they held the speed of their goaded horses. They found the son of Kronos sitting apart from the other gods on the highest peak of rugged Olympus. So let's just recap. We have the beautiful chariot. We have Athena dressing for battle. We have her shield. We have her getting ready for everything else. This is quite the scene approaching Zeus. He knows what they're up to as they approach. There the goddess of the white arms, Hera, stopping her horses, spoken to Zeus, son of the high Kronos, asked him a question. She says, Father Zeus, are you not angry with Ares for his violent acts, for killing so many and such good Achaean warriors for no reason, and out of due order to grieve me? And meanwhile, Cypris and Apollo of the silver bow take their ease and their pleasure, having let loose this maniac who knows nothing of justice. This is Ares. And what we have to understand here is that Ares is seen as inferior to Athena. And that's not necessarily because of, he's a lesser god. Well, he is a lesser god. But the main reason he's inferior is because he only is ruled by his passions. Okay, he does not understand justice. He is one who is more in touch with his animal instincts, and that makes him a less powerful and a less important god. And so this is the mistake. He's out there in his battle rage, okay? And this is what Athena's saying, is this maniac knows nothing of justice. Father Zeus, would you be angry with me if I were to smite Ares with painful strokes and drive him out of the fighting? Then in turn the father of gods and men made answer. So Zeus says this. By the way, this is obviously here. This is Hera who says this. Go to it then, and set him against the spoiler Athena, who beyond all others is the one to visit harsh pains upon him. So here Zeus is basically saying, Athena can take care of him, no big deal. So he spoke, nor did the goddess of the white arms, Hera, disobey, but lashed on the horses, and they winged their way, unreluctant, through the space between the earth and the starry heaven. They're coming down from Olympus. As far, here's one of those beautiful similes again, as far as to the hazing distance a man can see with his eyes, who sits in his eyrie gazing on the wine-blue water. As far as this is the stride of the gods' proud neighing horses. Now as they came down to Troyland, the two running rivers where Simios and Scamandros dashed their waters together. There the goddess of the white arms Hera stayed her horses, slipping them from the chariot and drifting close mist about them. So this is obviously the mist, invisibility, and Simios grew a grass ambrosia for them to graze on. So the ambrosia is the food of the gods. So this is largely horse god food. I'm just going to write that down because that's funny. Horse god food. All right. Now these two, Hera and Athena, walk forward in little steps like shivering doves in their eagerness to stand by the men of Argos. After they had come to the place where the most and the bravest stood close huddled about this great strength of the breaker of horses, Diomedes. So they come to Diomedes. Remember, Diomedes had fallen back in the likeness of lions who rend their meat raw, okay, so, or wild pigs, boars, in whom the strength diminishes never. There standing the goddess of the white arms, Hera, shouted, likening herself high-hearted bronze voiced Stentor. Now remember, most of the time gods come down and they don't appear as themselves. They disguise themselves. Who would cry out in as great a voice as 50 other men. So he's got a great voice. Shame on you. So this is Hera disguised as Stentor. On you Argives, poor non-entities splendid to look on. In those days when brilliant Achilles came to fighting, never would the Trojans venture beyond the Dardanian gates. So much did they dread the heavy spear of that man. So when Achilles was fighting, they didn't even dare to leave their city, right? So the Trojans don't dare to leave city when Achilles fights. Now they fight by the hollow ships and far from the city. In other words, come on guys, pick it up. So she spoke, oops, that was a big one, and stirred the spirit and strength in each man. But the goddess great Athena made straight for Tydeus' son, right? And found the king standing by his horses and chariot, cooling the wound that Pandaros made with the cast of his arrow, right? So this is Diomedes. For the sweat made him sore underneath the broad strap with the circled shield. This made him sore, and his arm was tired. He held up the shield strap and wiped the dark blot of blood away from it. The goddess laid a hold of the harness horses and spoke to him. Okay, so this is going to be Athena speaking to Diomedes. Tydeus got him a son who's little enough like him, since Tydeus was a small man for stature, but he was a fighter. Even on that time when I would not consent to his fighting, nor drawing men's eyes, when he went by himself without the Achaeans as a messenger to Thebe among all the Kidmians. Then I invited him to feast at his ease in their great halls. Even so, keeping that heart of strength that was always made within him, he challenged the young men of the Kidmians, and defeated all of them easily. Such a helper was I who stood then beside him. So she's like, I helped your dad, okay? A helped key. All right? Now, beside you I also stand and ever watch over you, and urge you to fight confidently with the Trojans, and yet the weariness has entered your limbs from many encounters. Or else it is some poor-spirited fear that holds you. If so, you are no issue. Remember, this is son, then, of the son of wise Aeneas, Tydeus. Okay, so, who are you? Who's your dad? Remember who you are. Then an answer, powerful Diomedes spoke to her. Okay, so this is Diomedes speaking here. Diomedes. Daughter of Zeus, who holds the Aegis, goddess, I know you, and therefore will speak confidently to you and hide nothing. So he knows that this is Hera. Not Hera, Athena. All right? It is no poor-spirited fear or shrinking that holds me. Rather, I remember the orders you yourself gave me when you would not let me fight in the face of the blessed immortals. The rest of them, except only Aphrodite, Zeus's daughter, went into the fighting. I might stab at her with a sharp bronze. Therefore now I have given myself away, and I ordered the rest of the Argives to all be gathered at this place beside me, since I see that this who was lord of fighting is Ares. So it's like, listen, don't be mad at me. Okay? I followed orders. So Diomedes says, I followed orders. And he's right, because look at Athena's response. In turn, the goddess, great Athena, answered him, this is Athena, son of Tydeus, you who delight my heart, Diomedes, I no longer just be thus afraid of Ares. So he delights her heart. Or any other mortal. Such a helper I can be by standing beside you. Come then, first let Ares steer your single-footed horses, and strike him from close. Be not afraid of violent Ares, that thing of fury evil wrought, that double-faced liar who even now protested to Herod and me, promising that he would fight against the Trojans and stand by the Argives. So note here we get a little insight. So Ares promised to help Hera and Athena, right? So he is going back on his promise. Now all promises forgotten, he stands by the Trojans. So speaking, she pushed Sthenelus from the ground to the chariot, driving him back with her hand, and he leapt away from it lightly. That's her driver. And she herself, a goddess ringer, stepped into the chariot beside brilliant Diomedes. And the golden axle groaned aloud under the weight, carrying the dread goddess and a great man. So actually, I think this is Diomedes' driver. I would have to take a look, but that's my guess, the way this is worded. I'm guessing we've seen him before, I just don't remember. Pallas Athena then took up the whip and the reins, steering first of all straight on against Ares, the single-foot horses. Ares was in the act of stripping gigantic Periphas, shining son of Ocasios, by far the best of the men of Aetolia. Bloodstained Ares was in the act of stripping him, but Athena put on the helm of death, that stark Ares may not discern her. So note here that Athena is even able to disguise herself from a god, from Ares, right? So Athena disguises herself from Ares. Discerning means recognize, right? Now as manslaughtering Ares caught sight of Diomedes the brilliant, he let gigantic Periphas lie in place where he had first cut him down and taken the life away from him, and he made straight against Diomedes, breaker of horses. Now as they in their advance had come together, Ares lunged first over the yoke and the reins of his horses with the bronze spear, furious to take the life from him. But the goddess Great Athene, with her hand, catching the spear, pushed it away from the car, so he missed and stabbed vainly. After him Diomedes of the great war cry drove forward with the bronze spear, and Pallas Athena, leaning into it, drove it into the depth of the belly where the war belt girt him. That's obviously Ares, right? Sorry about my handwriting tonight. Picking this place, she stabbed and driving it deep into the fair flesh, wrenched the spear out again. Then Ares the brazen bellowed with a sound as great as 9,000 men make, or 10,000 when they cry as they carry into the fighting the fury of the war god. And a shivering seized a hold alike. This would be a shivering of fear. All the Achaeans and Trojans in their fear at the bellowing of the battle insatiate Ares. This means he hungers for battle. As when out of the thunderhead the air shows darkening, there's another one of those similes, a day's heat when the stormy wind uprises. Thus to Tydeus' son, Diomedes, Ares the brazen showed as he went up to the cloud, up with the clouds into the wide heaven. So he ascends to heaven, right? And it's really, he's going to Olympus, okay? Lightly came to the god's citadel, headlong Olympus, and sat down behind Cronian Zeus, grieving in his spirit, and showed him the immortal blood dripping from the spear cut. So in sorrow for himself he addressed him in winged words. Father Zeus, okay, so we have, this is Ares speaking. Are you not angry? Let's go down here. Looking on these acts of violence, we who are gods forever have to endure the most horrible hurts by each other's hatreds as we try to give favor to mortals. It is your fault we fight. Ooh, I don't know if I would do that to Zeus. It's your fault, Dad, since you brought forth this maniac daughter, accursed, whose mind is fixed forever on unjust action. So, hey, Zeus, it's your fault. Zeus's fault. Why? Because he gave birth, remember, out of his mind, to Athena. This is sibling rivalry right here. Rivalry at its best. For all the rest, as many are gods on Olympus, are obedient to you, and we will have rendered ourselves submissive. Yet you say nothing, and you do nothing to check this girl, Athena, letting her go free, since you yourself begot this child of perdition. See now the son of Tydeus, Diomedes the haughty. She is egged on to lash out in fury against the mortal gods. First he stabbed the Cyprian, that's Aphrodite, in the arm by the wrist. Then, like something more than human, he swept on even against me. But my swift feet took me out of the way. Otherwise I should long be lying there in pain among the stark dead men, or go living without strength because of the strokes of the bronze spears. This is all Ares right here where he speaks. So, Dad, can you control your daughter, please? It's all your fault that this is happening. Then looking at him darkly, Zeus, who gathers the clouds, spoke to him. Do not sit beside me and whine. Zeus is saying this. You double-faced liar. To me you are the most hateful of all gods who hold Olympus. This is a great quote. Forever quarreling is near to your heart, wars and battles. Truly the anger of Hera, your mother, is grown out of hand, nor gives ground. And try as I may, I am broken by her arguments. And it is by her impulse, I think, that you are suffering all this. So this is Hera's fault. You are Hera's child. And yet I will not long endure to see you in pain, since you are my child. And it was to me that your mother bore me. Here you go. This is a great quote too. But were you born of some other god, and proved so ruinous, long since would you have been dropped beneath the gods of the bright sky. I would have kicked you out. So he spoke, and he told Paeon, who was a healer, to heal him, and scattering the medicines to still pain upon him. Paeon rendered him well again, since he was not made to be one of the mortals. As when the juice of the fig in the white milk rapidly fixes that which was fluid before, and the curdles quickly for one who stirs it, in such speed this he healed violent Ares. So this is like those video healings, right? The power, like magic, whatever, right? It's like super fast heal. And he, remember that's Hera's sister, washed him clean and put delicate clothing upon him, and rejoicing in the glory of his strength, he sat down beside Cronion. Meanwhile, the two, that's Hera and Athena, went back again to the house of great Zeus. Hera of Argos and Athena, who stands by her people, after they stopped the murderous work of manslaughtering Ares. So there you go. That's chapter 5. So much happening in this chapter. We have the fighting. We have the gods going against each other. I hope you enjoyed it.